What you're about to see is a remote viewing session that was done totally blind by the remote viewer. Now, I'm going to tell you what the target is so that you can follow along, but remember the remote viewer does not know this target when they're describing what the session is all about. And at the end of the session, we will tell the remote viewer what the target was so that you can actually see the response. So the target for this session is the death of Jeffrey Epstein. And we're going for the moment of death for Jeffrey Epstein. So one thing that's different about this from when we did this long ago is that with this particular targeting, we're using what we call anti-blocking techniques so that people or AIs or any type of extraterrestrial influence cannot stop us from seeing what actually happens. So this is a little different from the original project we did on Jeffrey Epstein years ago, where we did not use the anti-blocking techniques. In addition, we're going after the actual moment of his death so that we can see how he actually died. All right, so this is the death of Jeffrey Epstein. All right, Yeme, so here we are with your deep news, and as always, let's just assure the audience that you don't have any idea what the target is for this, right?
Correct.
You did it totally without any knowledge, and you don't know anything about the nature of the project or anything, right?
I do not.
Okay, so why don't we just start? We can start with some preliminaries, just the first couple pages, and then we'll dive into the meat of the stuff. So what did you get to start off with?
Got an urban environment with a large structure.
Looks like you have a bunch of structures, so that would be your urban environment. All right, so what happens in the next page when you go to the center of the target at target time for focus 1 to the target subject?
I found a male subject near peaks. Had dark clothing, long, appears to have something on his head, a head covering of some sort, pale skin. The environment seemed very chilled or cool. The land was irregular, flat. He was about an average height for a male, taller than me, and most people are taller than me, so about an average male height and average build, like physically. He had dark hair, kind of, you had redness in his cheeks and nose. His skin was very pale, so there was a contrast between the skin and clothing, very pale or light skin, very dark clothing.
I see. Okay. So when you went into the deep mind probe, what did you feel about this particular subject? I see you called it subject A.
Yes. He was very, very observant. That was the first thing I saw. I was able to zone in on. Calculated, felt a bit sneaky or secretive, mysterious on the outside, but he does not appear to enjoy close proximity to others. He would prefer to have kept a distance from others. I got the feeling of him being a loner type person. His ability to observe is his strength. It was like a huge strength for him. It's almost like it's utilized as part of his occupation, maybe something that he does for a living or a way of living. His observant ability was used to maybe do or complete things for other people. I kept getting like this interesting deductions. I definitely had to deduct these like 007 or private investigator or an assassin, but my brain gets to going sometimes. So I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was some type of not a common run-of-the-mill type fellow.
Definitely not. Definitely not. He definitely very watchy. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, he's looking looking at you. I feel like I would feel him looking at me by the way he observes. You know, if you get that feeling, it's like,
So you
feel like
felt-
somebody's watching me.
You felt he was like a 007 private investigator and assassin. Okay. Now he starts out in an open environment, I see, and then he starts walking. What's going on there?
There seems to be other subjects around him, but they're not necessarily interacting with him in any way. He's moving within the location, and it does feel like he's possibly following someone, or no, yeah, it felt like he was following someone else. I did label this person Subject B. Subject B, like I was able to kind of fill in on him as well. His mind is not centered.
Okay, but wait, just to finish up with Subject A.
What's that?
You had the sense that he was following, but I also see the sense that he's looking around at his surroundings. You have it written down here.
Well, that was more like a question. Like I couldn't figure out what he was looking at, but I knew he was staring intently at something.
Yeah, okay. Then you went on to Subject B, and you went into a deep mind probe. Now, what did you find about Subject B?
His mind was not centered, opposite of where I just left.
Okay.
In his mind was not centered, unfocused, scattered, seemingly paranoid. Again, I think he might feel like he's being watched. I think he knew he was being watched. I wrote, does he know he's being watched? He has a frantic energy about him, kind of panicking. He's like picking like this, like a nervous tick. He's picking at his skin and nails and like rubbing his hands through his hair. Constantly just, those nervous ticks, wiping hands across his face like just that type of energy, erratic breathing. He's hopeful. He's got feelings of maybe they won't find me, or I'm just paranoid, I'm fine. Yo, yes, I'm fine, I'm okay. Like that's kind of the energy he was going through.
Yeah.
But he was also very snappy, had minor moments where he might have been aggressive. I kept feeling poor thing, like this subject, my subject B was losing it. It feels like he might have caused some trouble somewhere and the wrong people got affected.
I see. So, he has, what is this thing about you wrote down? He has wanted information.
I felt like, and this was just a raw feeling. It wasn't a definite, but it was something that kept, running through, like just kind of casually scrolling through my mind. This guy knows something or has something that someone of a type of hierarchy, they may or may not be good people, I don't know, but that someone of some type of hierarchy wants, needs, and they want to get to him to get this information. I don't know if it's his information or if he took someone else's information. I was kind of moving back and forth through that. I think somewhere through my session, I ended up kind of pinpointing that energy.
But he has information that affects other people.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, going into the next page, when you move to the target event, what did you find there?
I felt like I was getting mixed signals at first. There was a lot of fast movement via the subject of multiple subjects, maybe about 3. It wasn't a lot, but a definite more than one. Again, I felt like one of them had something of great importance. They wanted to keep it to themselves. Doesn't want to share. He doesn't want to share the information. There's this fast-paced, like multi-directional movement, like he's running away or trying to shake him up a little bit. Like to get away from someone, he kind of will bust a left over here and run and maybe kind of change his direction or his course to physically get away from these people. They are not in a secluded area. There's a sense of like, there was a disturbance energetically. There was maybe a sense of a disagreement or some type of disturbance. I didn't know, I didn't feel like it was an altercation, but I was still kind of moving into the space.
Well, you wrote down an altercation.
Yeah, I did. I wrote down altercation. I know, like I said, I was going back and forth a lot. This is a very interesting target. There was definite disagreement. There's definite disturbance. There's definite like I guess that would be an altercation of some sort. Like he's moving away from these people. I kept asking him like, what did you get yourself into? Like just energetically, like searching through his mind. This isn't someone that could talk back to me. But I was like, what did you get yourself into? It feels like he took something of great importance from somewhere that's supposed to have limited access. So it feels like he got into something he may not have supposed to have been inside of, whether it be a place or a file, something where there's information that should have been limited to the public. But this person retrieved it and was like, ooh, I can't show anybody this. I have to go. Type of energy. These people are after him. And I do remember there is a type of physical, altercation, trying to retrieve it or stop the information from getting out. Earlier, I heard popping sounds. I did edit that out, but I made a note that I edited it out. The men get to Subject B. They're roughing him up badly. It feels like the guys maybe hurt him pretty bad. Subject A has the upper hand in this situation. And Subject B is losing consciousness. He was right to be paranoid. The others did not want this to get out. This dude dies, like he lost consciousness and he died. I see a large structure in the place where he may have died, where he's on the ground. The structure is man-made. And the guy, my Subject B, poor thing, oh my God, he's face down on the ground. I originally could not tell if it was cement or tile, but I did see reflection on the floor, and so that made me think it's tile, just maybe the color of cement. But it made me think it was tile because I saw like reflective surface where the light would shine. I saw wall. On the wall, I saw colors of like green and yellow or cream, green and yellow. I couldn't make it out all the way, but I saw like these striped, they were faint, but like these striped wallpaper, maybe.
Oh, a striped pattern on the wall.
Or a pattern, yeah, somewhere in front of where I'm standing.
Okay, well, that looks like it is it. That's your session, right?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to know the target?
No. I keep seeing people die.
Yeah, he died.
He died.
Well, do you want to know who died?
Who died?
That was Jeffrey Epstein, the death of Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh.
And if you remember, we did the death of Jeffrey Epstein a long time ago. And you had information that he was like hit by
But that was his death?
That was the death.
I remember doing Jeffrey Epstein in a secluded environment.
We did Jeffrey Epstein long ago, but we didn't actually target the death event. And you had something like he was being attacked by like black magic type stuff and things like that. This was a long time ago. And Kamaya had stuff where there was a invisible friend, an invisible, like the person there, but not. all of the
Yeah,
stuff.
I said invisible people, like spirits.
But all of the evidence for that session, when I wrote up the target for that project long ago, I wasn't using any of our anti-blocking techniques. And the stuff that you got, looked like there was black magic affecting him and stuff like that, killing him. That didn't make sense. We never picked that up.
Did I say black magic? I don't recall saying that. I do recall saying there were spirits, invisible people that only he could see.
But the idea of having an invisible friend there that killed him, or black magic killing him, that's evidence of mental manipulation. That's evidence that somebody was interfering with the remote viewing process. And I didn't use the anti-blocking techniques for that target, for that project in the old days. So I always knew I wanted to revisit that, the Jeffrey Epstein. So now we have revisited it. And here we clearly targeted the death of Jeffrey Epstein. And I had the anti-blocking techniques. And basically everybody's getting the same thing. There were 3 people and he was murdered.
I strongly believe that both of these scenarios happened. But that's because of my personal beliefs in spiritual practice. I believe that there are energies and spirits out there. And in that moment, it felt like possibly the women that he hurt.
That could be.
I strongly believe they took part in his death.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is you picked up the assassin first, and you had him walking and getting there, and then you had them killing, and your subject B was Jeffrey Epstein. He was the guy that was killed.
Getting killed.
So you picked up on the assassin first, and then you moved to Jeffrey Epstein. But clearly he was killed by people that were in the cell. By the way, the vertical patterns, now that you know it was killed in a jail cell, what is the vertical patterns?
Oh, there would be bars.
The bars, that's right. So you correctly picked up the bars. And the cream-colored striped wall, perfect. That's the color of the inside of those cells, a little greenish yellow. You picked up that right. And the description, the deep mind probe of the assassin was amazing. It was really great. And the deep mind probe of the mind of Jeffrey Epstein was amazing. He was exactly, and it does appear that he has lots of information about people. That's what they were getting after him. They had to kill him because of what he knows. He knows compromising information about a whole bunch of elites that were using his sex stuff in the island. Remember all those people? He was arrested because of sex trafficking, and there's apparently a zillion, famous people that went down to the island and had sex with these. Yeah, that's what the whole thing is out. And he video recorded everything. So he has video recordings of all of these famous people having sex with these girls. And
famous people?
Yeah.
So famous people. I don't pay attention to the news. I think it's depressing. So literally I get all of my information through remote viewing.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing about
Facebook.
Jeffrey...
I get bits and pieces of it. But so he was going around talking about famous people's sex tapes?
He had his entire island wired for video. And so when he had these famous people coming and visiting him and having fun, and then he would hook them up with these young girls, they didn't know, but everything that they did with these girls was being video recorded. And he had all this information on these people. He had compromising information on all these people, and they had to kill him. And you...
No, that's not how you handle that. What?
That's exactly what you found. You said, Yeme,
you've got all this information. I've got to kill you now.
But you got it. I didn't. It was totally blind, and you did it by yourself, and you said it yourself. He had information from other people, and they had to stop it from getting out. I mean, this is your session, and you did it blind, and I didn't do it. You did it.
Oh, my God.
What you did is you confirmed everything that people were suspecting.
Oh, Jesus.
This is where your telepathy talents really came in handy. Yeme, you fessed it out. He had information. Now, the real thing is...
information.
The real thing is people don't know yet where the tapes are, where the actual recordings are.
I would have gotten the information out of him before I killed him.
His assistant is in prison now. And she was, and the real question is she going to survive, or is she going to be killed off as well? So
we should remote view that. Well,
she was the one who was apparently, according to the trial, was the one who was getting the young girls and bringing them to Jeffrey Epstein, and so she was involved in the trafficking. And according to the legal stuff, that's why she's in prison now.
And, I guarantee you those girls did some black magic.
And apparently she knows where these tapes are, and she knows the list of these people. And they probably made a deal to have her for some period of time in prison and to let her out after a while. The question is whether she'll ever be let out or whether she'll be killed in prison. I mean, there's so many ways for people to be killed in prison. Just something put in their food or something. It doesn't have to be a poison. It can be a disease, and then they develop cancer some 6 months later. I mean, there's a zillion ways. So the question, if they were going through this much trouble to get, God bless you, if they were going through this much trouble to get Jeffrey Epstein, are they going to let her out? So it's a question. We just simply don't know. But you got it. I mean, you really got it, and you got the reason for why he had information. And apparently, according to your session, he really did have that information.
There's a strong possibility that the floor was cement.
Oh, yeah, and it's the right color you got for it, too. Yeme, personally speaking, I think you did a great job.
These targets get crazier every day. I quit.
Well, okay. Well, we do the latest and the greatest here, and you did a great job. And I'm so glad that we had a chance to revisit this with the anti-blocking techniques and to target the actual death moment so that we confirmed what it was. Yeah. This, by the way, if there was something with such high-level people in there, now, there may be that the mainstream hasn't yet accepted remote viewing, but the high-level people know it exists. And it makes total sense that when we first did it, they would have put all types of anti-blocking, they would have put all types of blocking stuff into it. They would have, because they have remote viewers that work for the government, and they also have ET friends that help them. They would have wanted to cover this up. This would have been the highest priority, because you can imagine the list of famous people. I don't want to mention any names, but the list of famous people that have been associated with this is incredible. And if those people actually had this type of compromising information out there, this could be the complete collapse of the House of Cards. So they would have put a very high priority on getting the blocking stuff putting in. So we really did need the anti-blocking stuff for this target. Yes.
Contrary to what you may believe, listening to what you're saying to me right now,
yeah,
I believe that yes, there may have been blocking in the first session, but there's definitely some dark magic going on.
Yeah.
I feel it in my spirit.
Well, the blocking techniques that they were probably using probably incorporated some superstitious blocking crap anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised about that at all.
There's definite, I feel it now being tapped into this session and listening to you. There is a definite external, non-extraterrestrial force involved in all of this.
Yeah.
And it's really heavy, surrounding it, even being tapped into the session right now and listening. Usually whenever, when I'm being interviewed with a session, I'm always able to go back in and shoot my consciousness to that space and get more information.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I do feel it strongly. And so I didn't watch those videos. Most of the stuff that has a lot of death, I kind of stay away from after I've visited it. I've seen it enough. Don't want to see it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know to this day, I don't know what anyone else got until you just told me what Kamaya got. I don't remember who was on the project, but I want to go back now and revisit it. I want to go see the original one, and then I want to watch this one just to see where I can throw my consciousness with that, because what you're saying makes a lot of sense, but you sometimes will exclude other things, right? You believe in aliens, but you don't believe in magic. I believe in both. Okay. And I work with both. And so I'm able to see the energy of it. I can see it around it, surrounding him. I can see it being engulfing. I can see it also being a part of how they blocked us.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I can perfectly well see military remote viewers that are working in Langley or wherever, Fort Meade or whatever, I can actually see them using black magic techniques as part of their blocking stuff. Now, I know the ETs would not do that. They have technology. They have other ways to try to block. But we get through that as well. But if it was humans doing the blocking, they would use black magic type of stuff. And yeah, so I can actually see what you're doing.
Crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the death of Jeffrey Epstein. Well, look, this is what we do, and we'll just go on to the next project.
It just makes me want to watch the news, but I wish I could filter through the news because I never know what's going on out there until I do a session.
Yeah, but Yeme, this is not the news. This is the deep news.
I want to be a broadcaster for deep news.
You are a broadcaster.
Oh.
This is the deep news.
I wanted to be like the news shows where there's like blocked out and it's like, all right, now back to you, Courtney. What dumb shit did we see today?
Okay. Well, look, this is great. Now we move on to the next project, okay?